The Louisiana Book Festival, a celebration of readers, writers, and their books. Saturday, November 1st. Over 200 authors, scholars, and poets. Book talks, signings, and cooking demonstrations. Activities and crafts for young readers and teens. Learn more at louisianabookfestival.org.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
Support for this program comes from the Gail and Tom Benson Charitable Foundation, committed to funding educational causes.
Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
Whether it's the latest museum exhibit, the newest restaurant, or the current hot play,
we appreciate the weekly updates on the arts, music, and entertainment. Let's step out.
Peggy Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, band leader, jazz historian, and so much more, Dr. Michael White. Welcome, Michael, to our table.
It's a pleasure.
It's good to see you, sir. Hello. Poppy Tucker, birthday girl, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO. Howdy. How you doing?
Hey, Peg.
And originally a New Orleanian, now in Asheville, but loves both cities, Louise Glickman, who is the founder of ArtsvilleUSA and also coordinator of a new exhibit by artists from both Asheville and, of course, New Orleans. So we'll look forward to hearing more about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com.
Yes.
Poppy, restaurant news.
Lots of food news this week, and I think the biggest news is that finally, after 20 years, next Friday, September 19th, lunch is back at Arno's restaurant.
Oh.
And you know, on Mardi Gras and special occasions, they would pop up a Friday lunch. It's permanent now, from 11:30 to 1:30 every Friday. You can go and enjoy the shrimp Arnaud, the mushroom Veronique, the turtle soup, the crab meat ravigote, all of that yumminess, and of course, pomme souffle and cafe brûlot. The dining room is so beautiful. It's just like a jewel box. And I was actually there celebrating my birthday last night. And it was the most adorable thing they brought to the table. Instead of a birthday cake or something with a candle, it was a little mini baked Alaska that they just poured a ladle of flaming alcohol over for me to blow out.
What a good idea, though.
It was just lovely. So welcome back, and look at those pomme souffle. So lots more food news going on at the St. Roch Market. And Chef Orwin Yimkalan has opened up a second food stall. Now, her Thai food stall has been a hit since day one, but she is I love, the name of her new stall is Padrona. That means girl boss. And it's Italian themed because she was the chef on Princess Cruise Lines, cruising the Mediterranean for many years. And so that's how she acquired these Italian chops, this food she knows so well. The food looks fantastic. Very special dishes like squid ink pasta with Gulf shrimp and black garlic, ossobuco, yum. She's got a seasonal risotto on the menu, chicken fettuccine alfredo. This is like a high-end Italian restaurant right there at St. Roch, where you can dine in or take it to go. And at St. Roch, Kevin Pita, the manager, continues to curate really great food experiences there. You can go to St. Roch and get anything from raw oysters to Burmese food, poke and sushi. Well, Peggy, St. Roch Market is 150 years old this year. And so it has acted since they reopened after the storm as such a fantastic incubator. After all, that's where Charlie Pierre of Fritaille got his start. And so Saturday, September 27th, they are partying all day long from 2 until 10 p.m. There's different levels of tickets you can get, between $35 and $150 for tastes, drinks, music, and fun. Go celebrate the St. Roch Market. What a treasure it is. And one of our favorite things that happens every September, Fettuccine Frenzy is back at Middendorf's. And that's every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at both locations, Slidell and Manchac. And, you know, Horst Pfeiffer's famous fresh pasta from the Bella Luna days, that's legendary. So don't miss Fettuccine Frenzy.
Okay, thank you. Do not miss. And moving on to Louise. And Louise, I know you make your home today primarily in Asheville, but you have put together artists from both, unfortunately, hurricane-devastated communities in a new exhibit at the Academy. Tell us about that.
It is so exciting.
We're going to show some images from both Asheville artists and New Orleans artists, too.
Well,
yeah.
you know, we have both experienced major hurricanes. They're up there in the top handful. Very different. Ours has covered a area the size of Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. It's 25 counties. Mm-hmm. Here, Katrina, we have so much to learn. You all have reestablished such a cultural presence, made it international. You have come back better. And that's what this exhibit is all about. It's not all what I call disaster-born. Mm-hmm. It's very positive, hopeful, working together in a partnership that we share through a crisis, but the whole idea is to build something very special in the recovery, and for our teams to understand it could take us 20 years, but we're in it to win it, and we're learning from the artists here.
And this work, of course, may be inspired by the recent past, but it's not devastating art. You know, it's
not
beautiful.
In any way. Mm-hmm. I have had a sneak peek. It's very exciting. It is one of the most beautiful shows I've ever seen in the way it's set, so that as you move through, mm-hmm. you understand the accomplishments that you've made in mm-hmm. New Orleans. And it's a very unusual show. I know there's been a lot of Katrina memories mm-hmm. that have been shown in town. This is very different.
Yes, and we'll be showing those shortly. But also, in addition to that, you've got the speaker series going on, too. Now, Saturday is the opening of the exhibit, but then the speaker series on Friday and Saturday, huh?
Well, the speaker series is really wonderful because this is where the interplay will come together, the understanding of what New Orleans is offering to Asheville, and also the work, the friendship, the partners. This is a long-term thing. This is the first exhibition, but we expect to be doing this every year. Mm-hmm. And so it is an amazing group selected by curators here and in Asheville who've worked to bring this all together.
Yes, and but you're going to have really quite an impressive crew talking on the weekend.
Well, the speakers are very interesting. So if you come Friday at 5 o'clock, we will have two exceptional speakers from Asheville. One is the head of the River Arts District. 700 artists were in the River Arts District when this flood happened. Mm-hmm. But now there is energy from 300 and more. So they're rebuilding. And then in addition to that, we have Ken Katara, who is from Louisiana, actually, mm-hmm. lives in Asheville, an incredible artist, and he was the curator for the Asheville artists in the show, of which there are over 30.
Yeah, and of course there'll be a reception, but then and it'll be, and actually you also will have a virtual version of this too on your website.
Well,
ArtsvilleUSA.
Friday mm-hmm. night I gave you. Saturday we start with speakers at 4. Friday, the opening actually is at 5, mm-hmm. and then virtually. Anybody can see it at ArtsvilleUSA.com, and it is wonderful because not only are the photographs glorious, you can press on them and find stories about the artists and also a podcast about the show.
And very familiar names in terms of the New Orleans artists: Phil Sandusky, Tina Freeman, Stephen Bingler, the wonderful architect. And we have to give credit to Jan Gilbert.
Jan is, she is a jewel, and we have gotten to be very dear friends from the get-go of talking about this and what it might look like. And she has some special surprises out front for interaction for everybody who's coming to leave their messages of hope, appreciation, and whatever.
Oh,
so
congratulations. I know you've been working very hard on this. What, almost a year in the making in terms of
We've been working
coordinating
10
all
months. But Saturday, if you come Saturday, we've got a bluegrass musicians coming from Western North Carolina and jazz musicians from here, so we'll have the battle of the bands.
New Orleans Academy. On to Michael. And Michael, speaking of hurricanes, of course, we have got to give kudos first and foremost to Jason Berry and his daughter Simonette and Tim Watson, because we have all been hearing about this documentary, of course, and he also wrote a book about it too, City of a Million Dreams, but you lived it.
I lived it, yes.
And the focus is jazz funerals, but so much more. Let's set this up, and we will show a clip, if you will,
Sure.
as to what this program is.
Well, you know,
exactly.
City of a Million Dreams is probably one of the most important documentaries about New Orleans and New Orleans culture. The emphasis is on the jazz funeral tradition, but there's much about the city's history, and it includes Katrina. It started many years ago as a result of conversations that I had and trumpeter Greg Stafford had with Jason Berry. And he had the idea of documenting this, because we were really concerned about changes in the jazz funeral tradition and whether it would survive as such. And so Jason got a few grants, and he started the process of the film. And 25 years later, here we are.
Well, before we continue, let us show a clip from City of a Million Dreams.
We celebrate and laugh at death. We're sad because you're not here anymore. We're happy because you're going to a better reward.
No place else in the United States is going to let black people take over the streets, every Sunday for 4 hours long. It's just not going to happen.
For someone dealing with American racism, trying to find your place in this life and society, you can be transformed into another world that really sets you free. This spirit goes back to Congo Square.
The jazz funeral, it's European and African, which makes it American.
But New Orleans has always been a hazardous place to live.
After Katrina hit, I was terrified that one of the things that would have been lost is this tradition.
We need to hold on to our culture. That's the enduring lesson of the jazz funeral. Return again in another life, and it will be jubilant.
We do this in their ancestral memory.
Those experiences allow New Orleans to be the most African city in America.
WYES is honored to be showing you a documentary that actually is on Tuesday night. It's at 9:30, and it's an hour and a half. It's actually an hour and a half, and it is, every moment seems to be a gem. It's so beautifully shot. And of course, a lot happened in the course of the 20+ years that Jason was working on this. And Katrina, which didn't see that coming, of course.
Right.
Here you are talking about jazz funerals, and that all this happens, and the scenes of you going back into your house are so devastating. And then Deb Cotton, who lived for the music, and then, of course, unfortunately being injured by a shooter at a jazz funeral, at a second line, I should say.
Mother's Day. On Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day in 2013. But Michael, I mean, as I said, the list, your resume is a long one. How many albums do you have now?
Well, I have about 15 under my own name, but altogether I'm on more than 100.
Gee whiz, yes.
I hope to do some more soon.
Oh, that's great. And Basin Street Records is really actually your longtime label, and they're available at the website, Basin Street Records.
Yes, that's correct.
And that is, I think that's one of your more recent ones, but there's a lot. And one of them was actually a kind of an outgrowth of Katrina, and that you created an album sort of, you know, based on some thoughts, and when you were in Studio in the Woods in a residency, weren't you?
Yes, and that album is called Blue Crescent.
Blue Crescent, and that's available
It's
too.
a reflection of the moods of New Orleans post-Katrina. To my surprise, a lot of it is upbeat and optimistic.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. But now you're also in the middle of working on an autobiography, and you're looking for some photos. So we're going to try to help spread the word on that. You said you're looking for photos of yourself because, I mean, you got started pretty early, and you got to play with many of the incredibly seasoned veteran jazz musicians. So you're looking for pictures of you with Sweet Emma Barrett, of course, a long time heroine, if you will, at Preservation Hall, and Kid Thomas Valentine. So this is your contact information too, and also you're playing, and you're actively involved with the music to this day. Correct?
Yes, well, I was very fortunate when I was younger. I played with more than 3 dozen jazz legends that were born between the late 1890s and 1910. And they taught me everything. I mean, they were contemporaries and sometimes bandmates of King Oliver, Louis Armstrong, Jelly Roll Morton, Sidney Bechet, George Lewis, and the list goes on. And I had, of course, photographs with them that I lost in Katrina. And I would love to have pictures, because, you know, when you tell someone you played with, like Kid Thomas, born in 1896, they're like, really? You know, or Sweet Emma, born in 1898. But yeah, I had many adventures with the older musicians. So I'm looking to find photographs with me and some of them.
And I know, as you mentioned, one of your pals is Greg Stafford. What a wonderful, between you and Greg, what a pair. You know,
yes,
a great guy who used to work, by the way, a long time ago as a studio cameraman at Channel 12.
That's right.
So I remember working with him,
That's
you know.
right.
But what a great guy. But, and I know you're still playing on a regular basis at Snug Harbor and other places too, but Snug.
Yeah, I'm usually at Snug Harbor about once a month, and I do a lot of private jobs as well. And I do a little travel here and there.
Yeah, very good, very good. And for so many years, you were at Xavier.
Yes.
You're now retired from Xavier.
I retired 2 years ago, but I was a university professor for 43 years.
You don't look like you could be that. And you taught jazz history as well as Spanish, didn't you?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, wonderful, a long time. Well, it's great to have you with us as always. Yeah, and on to Mr. Allen.
Well, today, of course, is a national day of mourning, but I am personally mourning the passing of my dear cousin, Sidney Smith, who was a beloved New Orleans celebrity and a figure in my life. Sidney was my first cousin once removed, meaning that he was my mother's first cousin, a part of her generation, even though I was 3 months older than him. Sidney became a renowned rock photographer whose work was published in Rolling Stone. There you see me with him. Hit Parader, Cream. He was selected to photograph Paul and Linda McCartney's Venus and Mars album that was recorded at C-Saint Studios with Alan Toussaint. He captured Paul and Linda there when they were disguised as clowns on Mardi Gras in 1975 and watched the Rex Parade from the balcony at Kolb's restaurant. But of all those groups that he photographed, the Allman Brothers were his personal favorite. This is one of the first pictures he captured, and this is of Dwayne Allman at Tulane's 1970 homecoming dance in the Kendall Cram Room. He sneaked into the University Center to take that picture. He ran a singing telegram company, Merry Minstrel, for several years, and more recently he was the successful owner and operator of Haunted History Tours, which continues to be the biggest in the city. Sidney had planned for a massive celebration of his life like he did for his recently deceased son. Sidney was 71. Now, over at Loyola University, there are 2 plays being produced by independent producing companies. First of all, Crescent City Stage has been presenting a wonderful comedy by Kate Hamill, and it basically takes the Arthur Conan Doyle stories of Sherlock Holmes and turns it into a feminist romp. All of the major characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, as well as several minor characters, are played by women. Lorene Chesley plays Holmes, Brittany Chandler plays Watson, and Sarah Colbert-Coutrer plays Irene Adler and others. Jared Smith plays Inspector Lestrade and others. Now, Ms. Holmes and Ms. Watson, Apartment 2B, had has its final performances this weekend at the Marquette Theater, and I recommend this. At times, it's very fast and furious, a piece of theater that turns Sherlock Holmes mysteries on their ears. Then, across the campus at the Lower Depths Theater, the Tennessee Williams Theater Company in New Orleans is presenting Outcry, the two-character play. Now, Tracy Collins, who you see there on the right, and Kyle Daguerpont play a brother and sister who are so used to performing a play that they know it even in the dark, and that's where this starts. The show runs this weekend and next, and the history of this work is interesting to Williams scholars. He premiered this work as the two-character play in 1967 and then revised it in 1971 as Outcry, only to revise that again in 1975 as Outcry, the two-character play.
Okay, got that.
Yeah, you want to see how, again, a lot going on the theater boards. If you want to see how a lie gets spun out of control, Dear Evan Hansen, with music by Ben Pasek and Justin Paul, and a book by Stephen Levinson, won the 2017 Tony Award, and for good reason. It's a story about relationships and how lies have consequences. Mark this one down as the first of two regional premieres opening this weekend. This one's at Rivertown Theater's Performing Arts. And then on Airline Drive, you'll want to see Waitress, the Sarah Bareilles musical that tells the story of abused waitress Jenna, who has an amazing talent at baking. This one is directed by Leslie Castay, and I want to reiterate that Meredith Owen is singing the lead role of Jenna. When I announced the role a few weeks back, I did not have the full cast list and meant to announce Meredith as Jenna. I apologize. I didn't get that right, but I am getting it right now. By the way, I've heard a snippet of her singing the opening song, What Baking Can Do, and it is nothing short of fantastic. Waitress, starting this weekend, another regional premiere. And quickly, let's run down last weekend's Curtain Call Ball at Le Petit. A.J. Allegra and Don Scott Cooper hosted the event that raised all of its goals and featured live performances, live auctions, and silent auctions as well. Many of the performers sang songs from Guys and Dolls. That's part of the season next year. Leslie Clavry sang If I Were a Belle, and she had absolute appeal. Queen Shireen Macklin performed as Adelaide with Adelaide's Lament. And several of their younger performers from their programs performed a medley from Slowpoke, an original musical takeoff of the fable of the tortoise and the hare. It was a great success. And here, by the way, is the staff gathered together at Tableau after the performances were over. A job well done. And finally, Fat Squirrel Productions will be presenting Justin Maxwell's latest entry. This is a play about Vincent van Gogh. It's titled Exhausted Paint. It's a one-man show that stars Drew Stroud. It's directed by his wife, Carly. Justin, Carly, and Drew will be with me on Monday night for a conversation about Exhausted Paint, and we'll discuss the previous iterations of this play that recently ran at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and you can see it all on Monday night on the NOLA Theater talk show, which is broadcast to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel.
What a great title, Exhausted Paint.
Yes, and Justin says it's really an ethereal thing. It's not like directly like timeline that you'd say it's this happened, this. It's all kind of like convoluted in time and space, and it's Van Gogh commentating on his life from outside of this dimension and time. So it's very interesting, and you're gonna learn more about it on my show.
Watch out. And now time for Picks of the Week.
I always pick lobster when I can. And right now, only through Saturday, it's Lobster Feast at GW Finn's. That's steamed whole lobster, bouillabaisse, lobster bisque, and lots more. All a la carte.
All right, Alan.
Well, the two original Broadway performers as Marius and Cosette from Les Miserables, they found love off stage as well, and they married on stage on Broadway. They've since raised a family. That's Rob and Barbara. They include a daughter and two twins. The Sharp family singers have performed on America's Got Talent, and they're going to bring their harmonious voices to St. Charles Parish this Saturday night at the LaFawn Performing Arts Center. I'll see you at the theater.
All right, and now my picks. Photographer Marianne Haas has an exhibit that opens Saturday with a reception at 4:30 at the Atrium Gallery at the Christwood Community. That's over in Covington. The show runs through October and can be seen Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Piety Art Market, one of my faves, will take place this Sunday from noon to 5 at Hotel Peter and Paul. Vintage clothing, food and arts, Luke and Arlo will be performing from 1 to 4. mezzo-soprano Emily Tragle, yes, as in granddaughter of Norman Tragle. Of course, she's the winner of the Metropolitan Opera's Gulf Coast Regional L'Enfant auditions and the grand finals. She'll be performing a gala concert on Sunday at 5 p.m. to be followed by a champagne reception, and that is the Christchurch Cathedral in St. Charles. It's to support Amici. That's the group that organizes the annual Gulf Coast Regional auditions right here. It's a lot of work. Eventbrite.com or AmiciSings.org. Great new website for tickets and info. The New Orleans early jazz documentary, Everybody's Talking About Sammy, the Sam Morgan story, will debut on WYES Monday at 9 p.m. and then on the 17th and 24th. By the way, Dr. Michael White is in that too. He's everywhere. Check WYES.org for details. OVO. Remember, we had a dragonfly on a few weeks ago. A presentation by the Cirque du Soleil will appear from September 18th through 21st at the Smoothie King Center. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. The Beau Rivage is holding an open audition for children on September 19th and 20th, 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. at the theater to perform in the December musical, The Christmas Story. So you can actually send resumes or videos to castng at randproductions.com. And before we leave you here, though, Michael, why is Sam Morgan so important? Because he is, isn't he?
Sam Morgan had one of the most popular dance bands that stayed in New Orleans, and he was one of the few band leaders that recorded in New Orleans. All the famous jazz records of the 20s, Armstrong, Jelly Roll Morton, King Oliver, were done up north. Sam Morgan recorded here in 1927, and his band was the first one to record hymns in an up-tempo New Orleans style. I had a relative that played with his band.
Oh, my goodness. And kudos to Peter Wilson, who worked very hard on this, and certainly a group effort. But, Michael, you're in that one, too, as I said. Huh? That's wonderful. And Dr. John Joyce, it's really quite an effort, to say the least. Louise, great to see you. It's been a while.
Come to the exhibition.
Okay.
See you this weekend.
Yes. Thank you very much. Take care. Good night.
Programming on WYES is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
From Masterpiece to Nova, Antiques Roadshow to Agatha Christie.
And of course, Steppin Out and Informed Sources.
We are pleased to support public television.
It's been our passion.
For a lifetime.
Support for this program comes from the Gail and Tom Benson Charitable Foundation, committed to funding educational causes.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
The Louisiana Book Festival, a celebration of readers, writers, and their books. Saturday, November 1st. Over 200 authors, scholars, and poets. Book talks, signings, and cooking demonstrations. Activities and crafts for young readers and teens. Learn more at LouisianaBookFestival.org.